Ever since Doe has been announced, you guys know that I have been talking about a huge meta shift being underway in Zenless. This shift involves us moving from the traditional team comp of stunner, DPS, and support, and allowing us to branch into new comps like dual DPS in our rotation to clear in-game content. This is because a lot of these new units started with Doe are being built to synergize with units in this new way to play, to the point that stunners won't be necessary to clear the harder content in the game. This will allow us to run teams like double anomaly support, anomaly attacker defense, and even anomaly defense and support. There's a lot of new effective combinations we'll be able to create because of Jane's banner dropping in just a few days, but also because of the future banners that will be coming within 1.2, including the characters Caesar and Bernice. Zenless has a very exciting future when it comes to its combat and gameplay, but what surprises me is something that I don't believe a lot of people are currently talking about right now. What if I told you two-man sales are actually possible? Before we get into this video, I just need to leave a disclaimer to let you guys know all the footage that you will be seeing comes from the content creator experience server, so that means everything is subjected to change before Jane banner releases. See, in order for two-man sales to be effective, there needs to be a unit, a part of the squad that can increase the survivability of the team while also providing buffs or debuffs to the other squad member. This is exactly what the defense class does, and is how I'm able to show you guys today what a two-man sale clear looks like with Jane and Seth. Now keep in mind that these sales are mostly effective against content that includes the weakness of one or both of the units within the squad, especially if the content is time-based like critical Shiyu. But where this team comp truly shines and is actually super effective is when you're able to go against content that's all about survivability, like the disrupted Shiyu in-game content. Now a lot of you are also probably saying, why would you even run a two-man over a three? That just sounds very counterproductive. And honestly, you're kinda right, but there are also some caveats to it. For starters, this allows you to invest a lot less into a team, because instead of needing to build 3 characters, you only need to focus on 2. I will say though, this method is very dependent on if characters synergize well with the current defense units in the game like Seth, Ben, and of course in the future Caesar. So definitely keep this in mind, but as we get more defense units in the game or figure out ways for other units to pull this off effectively, this could be another way for players to play Zenless. To go ahead and get this started though, I'll be first showing you guys a run I had in Disputed Shiyu, which is the Shiyu Defense centered around your team surviving, and then I'll show you guys a run on critical Shiyu. I was picking these notes specifically because for one, I think the game is moving in-game content to be centered around more of survivability for the next few updates, and as well as I said earlier, the two-man is more effective against content that has attribute weaknesses tied to the units you are using. I'll be showing you guys my team build after you guys finish watching my runs, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be surprised based off the builds I currently have. But without further ado, let's get into the gameplay. Ooh. Knock them out of there. Get that. Oop. Alright. Going to ultimate. Switch to him. My charge, we outside the distance. There we go. Stun state. Ultimate. Not ultimate, but skill. Oh, we got ultimate though. Give me that. I'm telling y'all, this team is crazy.
Yeah. Oh. Give me this. Nope. Give me this. Ultimate. I probably mistimed a lot of those ultimates. Oh. There you go. Nope. Put that down. Ooh, big damage. Okay. Ooh. That. Nope. Stun you. Yes, sir. Oh my God. Let's go. Give me that, baby. Give me that. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
All right, so now just go over the units, the gear, and as well as how that run went. We're gonna again go over talk about Jane and how my character's overall built. If you guys have seen the comparison between actually my previous build compared to what I have Jane build here, you actually see that there has been some adjustments that I did make to her overall gear set. So ultimately, we still are the same level. We still have all our skills maxed out from where we are at with level 50, but you'll see that there has been adjustments to my attack and anomaly proficiency, as well as some other stats to overall make me more in line with trying to be a little bit more realistic. I saw that my overall build that I had a lot more, I guess you could say, perfect rolls on the character, even though they weren't extremely perfect. So what I did is that I came through all of my gear pieces and I tried to be a little bit more random with what I actually had with some of my substats. My primary goal was just making sure that I had at least either anomaly and attack or one or the other within the substats, and everything else is just really random. No matter what it is. Also, I want to say that all of the base stats that you can farm and pick for her, I made sure that you pick the desired. I picked the desired ones that I want for her, which are anomaly proficiency, physical damage bonus, and anomaly mastery, because again, that's a more controllable thing that we can manipulate, so that is what you want to focus on. You also see that I changed her W engine. I decided to not use a S rank W engine at all. At first in the showcase, I had you guys seen using her preferred W engine, which is her own, the sharpened stinger, but I actually have been using throughout this entire showcase using Piper's W engine roaring rod, which is also a really good alternative for her as well. This is going to be more in line with a lot of you guys, because I know most people are only going to be pulling for the character and not her in the W engine. All in all, you definitely want to make sure that you at least have roaring ride, fusion compiler, or sharpened stinger. Those are like your main three that you want to use. So when looking at her general stats overall, you'll see that my attack is 2200, and like I said in my previous video, if you have Seth at level 50, all you need is an anomaly proficiency of 330 for you to get the 420 that you want to max out the true strength of Jane, which when we go to my Seth on the server, we'll see that this is what we actually have aimed for him. So overall, we have our attack is the primary focus with Seth. You want to build and have it as high as you can, and I believe the only other stat I focused on mostly was energy regen, because since it's only going to be two units, we don't have a third unit to help us build either enough time to build enough energy or have another unit to supply extra energy for Jane and Seth. So we wanted to build Seth around to provide that, and either way, you kind of want to have Seth that way as well. You also see that I have Seth with the Mindscape 3, just because I feel like if you're going to be pulling for Jane, you're going to get copies of him, and if you really want to focus on having a really good team with Jane, you at least want to have Seth up to M2 at bare minimum. I put him M3 just to get the extra stats. Even without the extra stats, these clears that you guys seeing are very much still possible, as well as that I made a lot of mistakes within my runs that I could easily clean up and even clear faster. So when looking at his mindscapes, the ones that we have active, we see the shield value provided by Shield of Firm Resolve, which is a shield that he provides on him and his teammate. The maximized limit is increased by 30%, and when Shield of Firm Resolve ends, the anomaly proficiency increase provides by a core passive protector lasts an additional 10 seconds. So that extra boost of anomaly proficiency that you provide for Jane lasts an additional 10 seconds. That means that she's gonna be in her peak performance a lot longer within her rotation, which is really good to have. We also have his Mindscape 2, which is upon entering battle, Seth immediately gains 75% resolve, hitting an enemy with his lightning strike, which is his enhanced hold basic attack that you get, and increases the move's accumulated electric anomaly buildup by 35%. This is something that I did not take advantage in either of the gameplays you're going to be seeing, but this is one of the core reasons why I'm saying that my run could have been a lot better, because within his rotation we could get 2 basic hold attacks going on, allowing us to almost guarantee always triggering shock within his rotation and switching back to Jane, causing us to always constantly get disorder when they both have the required energy. They're both in their peak performance to do so, which again occurs a lot more often because of this mindscape, and is really good for him. If you're really looking with Seth though, and ideally you can go for this, you really want to get him as close to M6 as possible, because if we come further down the road and looking at his other mindscape, you can see that he increases override days by 25%, allowing you to trigger stun a lot more often with him on your team, which is always really good, because being able to get into the damage phase of stun when the enemy is down is always great for DPS units like Jane. And then to even look at his M6, this is where he gets really insane. When Seth lands a finishing strike on an enemy with basic attack lightning strike, which again is his enhanced hold, it deals additional damage equaling to 500% of his attack, and this attack is guaranteed to trigger a crit, and crit damage is increased by 60%. This is when Seth himself becomes very similar to Jane, where he's going to be triggering crit every time he lands a hit with his hold basic, and with what we was talking about with his M2, he's going to be landing that basic attack twice in his rotation, increasing the damage output for him, always allowing him to trigger shot within his rotation, and then triggering disorder with Jane, who's also going to be triggering crits whenever she inflicts her anomaly onto an enemy. And this team overall, with just these 2 units alone, is just going to be insane if you have him at M6, but it's already really good based off the gameplay I've showed you guys with him only being M3. And then if we overall look at how I have him with the skills, we have everything listed out, but I only upgraded his basic attack, his skill, and his ultimate. And then we come for equipment. I didn't really change anything regarding his equipment. I don't believe I showed you guys Seth's build in the last video anyway, but everything centered around him is mostly just making sure I have the attack stat on everything as a substat. And then for my designated base stats that I made, I gave him 2 attack percents as the base stat, and then for the last one we have energy regen. For the weapon, we definitely went for his signature weapon. It says, while shielded, the equipper's energy regen increases by 0.4%. The anomaly build-up rate of EX special attacks and assist follows increases by 36%, which this number is affected and increased as long as you get copies of his W engine, so on and so forth. But if you can't get this one, the battle pass W engine is also really good as well. Spring Embrace, it says reduce damage taken by 8.5% when attacked. The equipper's energy regen rate increases by 11.5% for 12 seconds. When the equipper switches off field, this buff will transfer to the new on-field character with this duration refresh. This is a really good alternative that you guys could easily get by just pulling for the battle pass. Now, when I speak on the fact that my run could have been a lot better than what I showcased you guys, why I said that is because, for one, again, my rotations were a little bit sloppy with how I dealt damage. For instance, with Jane, I didn't maintain passion state as well as I could. Also, I use ultimate at very inconsistent and wrong places. A lot of times I've learned after doing that run is that it's best to always pop ultimate whenever the enemy is stunned. I know that should be a no-brainer, but generally when I was thinking during that run, or what my early thoughts of Jane was, that the main times that you always want to pop ultimate originally was that whenever you're running out of passion state and you want to instantly go back into it. I thought in my mind is that as long as I'm within passion state, I should be able to make up the ultimate damage by just her doing regular damage and triggering crit a lot faster in the rotations whenever the enemy is stunned and down. But I've realized that all in all, me having my ultimate ready and available and triggering it while the enemy is stunned will always guarantee me more damage. Also, again, like I mentioned earlier with Seth, I didn't take advantage of his M2 with having an additional hold basic attack rating his rotation. So I could have done hold basic attack, switching to charge with his EX special, and then hold basic attack, then switching to Jane for her to do her damage rotation. That way I would have guaranteed shock on the enemy every time with his anomaly build-up rate being increased because I believe of M1 or M2, and then I would have been able to trigger Assault to always constantly trigger Disorder whenever Jane comes out in her rotation, and that would allow me to sped up how fast I would have cleared that, which also leads into the next gameplay you're about to see with me doing a critical Shiyu, which is about speed and time. And you'll notice there that if I were to implement this rotation I'm speaking about now, the time clears that you're about to see with that would have been way better than what I actually got, which means that this team is actually pretty viable to do so and actively run content with when they're paired against content that is weak to physical or the electric attribute anomaly. But let me stop talking, let me show you guys that, and then I'll come and talk about that run a little bit more. But mostly the gear for both of these runs is exactly the same. I didn't change anything, I just showed you guys how the overall characters work and team works within the two different content. My E. I was about to say my E, bro. Even with slight execution errors, we still got the S. We still got it. What the world? They was trying to hold me right there. They wouldn't perform my E. My freaking EX. Oh my God. We got it, baby. We got it. And there we have it. That is the final run for our Shiyu clear with the duo of Jane and Seth. If we look at the clear times between my two runs, for the first one, we did a 2-minute and 16-second clear with Qin Ying, Nicole, and Zhu Yun, a 3-man team. And then with Jane, Doe, and Seth, we had a 2-minute and 20 seconds clear, so only being 10 seconds behind the initial first phase. This is really good for a 2-man team, meaning that if we actually had a third, someone like another support that buffs Jane, this could have been faster. But even so, like I mentioned before, I didn't properly run my rotations correctly with these two because I was misplacing ultimates, and I didn't take advantage of the extra enhanced basic attack we got with Seth. So I was actually missing out on damage and disorder and triggering the attribute anomalies on this team properly, meaning that I could have cleared even faster. Now, some of you may argue that my clear for the first team could have been faster as well, which is true, because if I'm able to show a little bit on screen, I did have some mixed executions with that team as well. Overall, what that still tells me is that this would have been an easy S clear for not only side 1 but including side 2, with how well these units are operating together. Jane and Seth as a team combo with just being a 2-man is super strong, and it's something that looks like it is worth looking into when it comes to developing a team comp with only needing 2 units in the game. I wonder if there's other team comps to be able to implement this and take advantage of this type of duo work that I think could be valuable for us to be looking into in the future. But at the moment, I think Jane and Seth does it the best. We'll be exploring other characters hopefully in the future to see how we take advantage of that. Maybe with Caesar coming in the future down the line, this could be something up her alley as well that I'd be excited to find out too. But overall, I hope that these clears were really good. Again, I can improve upon my clears with just properly timing my ultimates when it's time when an enemy is stunned, instead of always trying to remain in passion state with Jane, as well as being able to implement that new rotation of doing enhanced basic attack, charged EX, and enhanced basic attack again with Seth to come back into Jane in order to have a proper rotation done with the team so that we can maximize the amount of damage that we are doing. Also, if I have my Seth M6 on my main account, once everything comes by, this team is going to be clearing even faster than what it is. And again, we have to account for the fact that this is a Jane that doesn't have her signature W engine equipped. We just have Piper's W engine equipped and is doing the job already. So only imagine the clear speed of how well this team could actually be. We could probably knock out this whole Shiyu within a matter of probably 3 minutes or less with a perfect run, which I kind of do want to hunt for that on my main account and even go for a no-hit run with this team. But overall, I hope that this video was very enjoyable for you guys. It was a lot of fun to actually watch. It was a lot of fun to record and break down. So remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And always remember to believe in you that believes in yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one.